in the body. Matthew 21, 1 through 3.
And when they drew nigh unto Jerusalem, and were come to Bethphage, unto the Mount of Olives, then said Jesus to the disciples, saying unto them, and when they were drew nigh unto Jerusalem, and were come to Bethphage, unto the Mount of Olives, then sent Jesus two disciples, saying unto them, go into the village over against you, and straightway you shall find an ass tied, and a colt with her. Loose
Jesus
them.
was very, very specific. He doesn't do random calls. He was very, very specific. He knew what he needed and what he needed it for. Jesus is very, very specific in what he does and how he does it. It's imperative for us to be in tune. If you're seeking your place in the body, it's imperative to spend quiet time and to be in tune with the still small voice. He was, and you're going to see through here, very specific. Many times, individual not listening to the real, still small voice of God or the guidance of the Holy Spirit. And they'll be searching and they'll be seeking and there'll be trials and errors, trying this, trying that, but no real anointing, no real inspiration. But they were just asked, hey, do you want to sing? Hey, do you want to help out with this? Hey, we want to do this and the other. But we're talking something beyond just filling a body, a warm body being here. But we're at our best, saints, when every person is before God. And we're going to see this. It's such a beautiful, Church of God is so beautiful. When everybody is in the place that God would have for them to be. And the inspiration that comes. And they put their all into that. You talking about something powerful. You talking about something, everyone prepared, as we went over, being prepared, being in position. Each one of us being there. And I can sense God is doing something special. I can sense, my God, God is just doing something. We don't want to be in the way, but we want to be prepared. And tonight we're going to look at finding your place in the body of Christ. So here, as we already read, go ahead and just finish reading that.
Loose them and bring them unto me.
Uh-huh.
And if any man say aught unto thee, he shall say,
yes,
the Lord hath need of them, and straightway.
Anybody questions why you are giving yourself at the level that you are, God has need of you. The reason why I'm going after this the way I am is because God has need. Some people didn't see this. That's why he said, if any man tell you what's going on, say the Lord have need of you. Some people may not see, why are you what? The Lord's asking. Are you trying to be like someone? No, I'm not. God is pulling. God is called. God have need of something more. Hold on. Why are you trying to be super spiritual? No, I'm not. God is talking to me. And sometimes you may not perceive the end goal, but you're going to sense him calling you away. You're going to sense him asking you to spend more time before him. You're going to sense him asking you to spend more time in the word. You're going to sense him to draw nigh, draw closer. Other people may not perceive what you're doing. Other people may not perceive the depth that you're going. You cannot allow other people that don't perceive the depth that you're going to cause you to say, well, okay, you're going too far. That's just it. You can't listen to that. You got to have a conviction down in your soul. God has need of me. I don't know exactly what he's asking me to do. I don't even know the end game of it. But I know I can't get too caught up in my career. I don't know. Yes, I want to make enough to make, but other people are sitting around the table talking about next step and that. You're going to sit. You can never seem to make 3 steps down. Every time you try to make 3 steps down, I'm going to go get this, I'm going to get this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go here. You can never seem to do it. Why? Because you know God is stirring me. I can't say definitively how he wants to use me, but he's not allowing me to get caught up to any great degree in my career, in my job, I can't sense, I don't know. And people will call you, and you got to be careful who you get your counsel from. They may not sense. You just got to say, listen, God, you got to be convinced. God is not Bible tells you got to be careful who you marry. Bible talks about being unequally yoked. You marry the wrong person and they don't have the depth that God is taking you through. God prepares whoever you marry for your assignment. God prepares her, prepares him. Whatever your assignment is, God prepares you guys together. You marry the wrong person and they're trying to get more of this world, this, that, and the other, so on and so forth. They can't perceive what you're doing. So now you got to deal with the devil, the world, the flesh, and them. It's imperative that you understand how important it is to be in tune with God. This is the church of God. You must be in tune with divine guidance. Some people may not see it. He didn't say God wants to use them to do this. He said, just tell them. God. Why don't we make this, sir? Why don't we get this? All we got to do is take this loan out. We can get this. Hold on. Hold on. God's not giving me that liberty to get into that type of debt. There's a freedom I gotta have. If I'm not careful, I'm gonna bind myself too tight. And now I gotta get this sexual job. Now I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, and no. It's sufficient. It fits. Is this, that, and the other? It gets us where we want to go. I can't get to 2019. I can't do it. Let's just, what they did, I don't let them get that. The Lord has needed me. People on your job will say, listen, why don't you put in for this promotion? Why don't you this, that, and the other? You better get before God and see how much responsibility is coming with that promotion. The Lord has need of you. Where this world is a loose garment, you should be seeking ways to get more time for before God, less stress on you. Every promotion many times brings greater stress, greater responsibility. And here you are trying to get this together for this, that, and the other, but you got this weight on you. You know what, saints? Some majors in college, you got to be careful. I'm not telling you which ones. I'm not going there. I'm not going to legislate your life to that degree. I'm talking about principle. Some of them, my God, would take so much from you and this, that, and the other. Some positions, I'm telling you, I don't think it's to the glory and honor of God. I was involved in some even educational position. I'm sitting there and it was, I said, go back to school and get this credential. You can get this, that, and the other. And then and the position they was prior to put out, listen, I said, man, this is the face. This person is at every game. This person is at night. And it's not just at school. When you get to that level, now you got to go and you got to do this and you got to do it. I'm in service. I'm in this. I'm sitting there. I want my career. I would enjoy it then. But my God help me. My God. Can't do it. I'm sorry. They told me that, look, you got this. You got the disposition. I understand all of that. But before I jump into anything, the Bible said the steps of a good man. Go left. But saints, many people marginalize their usability because they're not operating on this level of in tuneness with the Spirit. Is it sin? Is it wrong? What you gonna tell? No, we way past that, saints. We way past that. We're saying whatever I decide to do as I'm seeking my place in the body, I gotta operate with the mindset God has needed me. I can't just make any decision. I can't make any loan. I can't marry anybody. I got to pray everything through. Why? Because God is needed. All right, let's go over to 1 Corinthians 12. Verse 12. We want to get to 18, but we'll just start with 12 just for context. Finding your place in the body. The first thing you must understand is that God had a need of you. You did not just get saved, but God has a special need in the kingdom that He wants you to fulfill. You have to operate with that mindset. Anyone that truly finds their place in the body first operates with that mindset. I did not just get saved, but God has needed me. God has needed me. 1 Corinthians 12, verse 12.
For as the body is one, and hath many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ.
Many members, meaning various parts, various places in the body, but all one body, all on the same team. Come on, read.
For by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one Spirit.
Although different parts, we all got the same Spirit. Same Spirit, and that is to glorify God. Glorify the kingdom of God. Saints, I was studying this out. It was talking about various parts of the body. There are no two people alike. God never uses two people exactly alike. But the beauty of it all is that it all complements each other. And that's why homosexuality is so wrong. You know, God arranges the genders differently. Psychologically, mentally, physically. You know, all that it is made to complement each other. You know, as a child even, you know, sometimes, and it's amazing, you could be in the situation where you say, you hurt yourself, and you're like, Mama! Just intently, you're running, Mama! Mama! Okay, that same day, that same child go outside and let a pit bull get loose. Daddy! Daddy! Both mom and daddy is up on the porch. Same child, two different situations. One point, you look in comfort. Mama, I hurt my stomach. I told Mama, hold me, Mama. They compliment each other. The other moment, you need protection. You need somebody going to stand in the door. Daddy! Well, here, because it's so beautiful, that's why many marriages struggle. Because they have different, not only different backgrounds, different cultures, different families. You got to have the Holy Ghost and wisdom to make your marriage work at the highest level.
My God.
Because you're different. You're made to complement. It's the beautiful thing. But you think differently. Seriously, you think differently. Your perception is different. So is different. You grew up different. You value things a little different. So on and so forth. But that's the beauty of it. That y'all can kind of, you know, kind of work it out and this and that, and you complement. Well, it's the same thing in the church. You got various people. We got to get along with each other because we're different. And if we look at things through our lens, you can pick somebody apart because you're looking at it through your lens. And you got to get mature enough to value that person. I don't like him. He does things a little bit different. No, we need that. That's beautiful. Now you compliment because you do it a little differently than that. There was some individuals in the community that was mentoring me. And they were dealing with various leadership rights, gun violence, retention rates in college, dropout rates, you know, hiring practices, so on and so forth. Well, one of them, actually one of the major buildings is named after him. He operates with so much wisdom and patience. Whenever I go to him to discuss things, I said, what about this? And one time I was dealing with a matter involving the newspaper. And I came to him and I said, listen, I'm dealing with something with the newspaper. They said something that wasn't accurate. I want to go down and talk to the editor. I know it. They said, yeah. He said, it wasn't accurate. No. I said, no, it wasn't accurate. I don't want to be perceived like that in the community. It wasn't accurate. I want to go down. He said, Lee, never pick a fight with those that buy their ink by the barrel. Received. Just your reputation will supersede one little thing. People will judge the body of your work. I'm sitting there. Well, it was another situation in which there was a huge injustice and individuals was caught. And he was discussing something with the people that said, but there was another leader. This leader, he came in, and I was on the other side of the table. This leader came in, and there was a student on campus that felt he was discriminated against, and I'm on the side of the company. I'm like, the side of the college. I'm like, the president comes and asks me, hey, I want you to attend this meeting with me, this, that, and the other, so on and so forth. And I wasn't at that time on that level to be attending those level of meetings. But he needed me. So he said, can you come with the other vice president? At the time I wasn't on that level yet. And he said, can you come in? So I went to the meeting. This other leader, who was also a mentor, he came in there. He He said, this is the most discriminating place I've ever seen in my life. This student is completely innocent. What you did and what your professor did should be, CNN needs to be here right now. Matter of fact, I need to call them right now. I'm calling Detroit Free Press right now. Oh, we want $100,000 immediately. We want this student to take all the classes that you take for free. We want this student to actually get his money refunded for this teacher and never take this. When he got done, and he wrote them all out, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, so we had our attorney, president, so on and so forth, and he said, find everything on this list that is reasonably doable and get that man off my back. Check, check, check mark, check mark, check mark. Would you guys be satisfied with this? He would have really been satisfied with that student simply not getting, that's all that student wanted. The student didn't want the failing grade because he was dismissed from a course from a controversial, it was right after Virginia, was it? Virginia Tech, where there was a shooting or something. Virginia Tech, I think it was right after Virginia Tech, and the student was in class and he got upset and he made a phrase. It's a normal phrase, but after Virginia Tech, you don't make phrases like that at college campuses. So it was a little overreact on our part, but we couldn't take a risk, you know, if something happened when he said that. So long story short, that individual was perfect for that situation. Him coming so aggressive called the college to say, hey, we're sorry, we don't want to be sued. We don't want to go to CNN. Here you go. We're going to give him this amount of money. We're going to give him this class. My point is that each one of those mentors was great at their right time. Sometimes, if I'd have called him, it's like, if I'd have called him to get this, he would have came in to, well, student, you should know this, that, and the other, and the student probably would have got kicked out, this, and that. So in the body, you might see somebody that's a little more aggressive than you are. Well, it's going to be times that little positioning may actually be more. Matter of fact, we're at a meeting, and one preacher, one person brought his family member at a fellowship meeting who never would ever come. And he said, I want Brother so-and-so to preach. I want to preach. Oh, Brother so-and-so to preach. And guess what? Brother so-and-so did preach. And Brother so-and-so went from there to the building, back up, on every note, and blew it loud and clear. Afterwards, he said, I'll never do that again. I said, what? He said, next time I'm going to say, Lord, what do you want? He said, it was way too much. It was, the saints were shocked. It was what we did. But he heard, I think it might have even been that morning, he said, who's preaching? No. Who's preaching this? Yep, I'm preaching. I didn't just say, Lord, you do what you do. Sometimes you need the boom. Sometimes you need just a little dew, just to refresh you. Sometimes you need that little dew that's coming. No, we need to clarify. When you got done, I don't know if we want cleansing too. Make it clear. At this point, we need clarity with clarity upon clarity. So here, it's talking about various parts, but be appreciative, saints. Although somebody may do things a little different than you, don't judge them critically. We need them too. All right, come on, everybody. As long as we have the same spirit. That's basically what he's saying there. Verse 14.
For the body is not one member, but many. If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body?
Come on.
And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, and I am not of the body,
come on,
is it therefore not of the body?
Come on.
If the whole body were an eye,
if everybody was just like you,
where were the hearing?
Come on.
If the whole body were hearing, if the whole were hearing, where were the smelling?
Come on.
But now have God sent to members, every one of them, in the body as it had pleased him.
God has set the members, every one of them, in the body as it pleased him. So God places. Remember Jesus said, I have need of thee? He don't just do the calling, but he does the placing. The placing. It said, for God said, but now hath God set the members, every one of them, in the body as it had pleased him. We don't seek to please men. It didn't say some of the members in the body, but every one of them. He saw, as he saw would best be
conducive for the harmony and usefulness of all. With the most exquisite wisdom, he places. Pray for us as we go through this tonight, saints. God actually places. When God does it, it's beautiful. When God does it, my Lord, it's done in a way that it fits. Watch where we're going with this. Ephesians 4, verse 6, verse 16. So God places, Jesus, God calls, God places.
From whom the whole body fitly joined together.
Of whom the whole body fitly, we complement each other. We complement each other. One of the things that Brother Hampton was so wise was with, and that was, he was able to bring people together and get them working together that sometimes struggle with each other. He was so, that many times that was his gifting. Anytime you talk about growing something, we growing up every week, like almost now, we baptizing every week, more people getting saved, families coming and said, and he was able to work. And I remember even growing up, there was some I knew struggled with each other, but they were both crazy about him. I know that sounds crazy, though. It was something that actually struggled with, but he walked on water, and he was able to be patient. Be patient. We need him. Be patient. Be patient. We got to work together with this. We got to work together with this. We can't crucify them. I've even seen them times in which an individual would go through something, and some want to throw that person away. And he would step up and, whoa, remember they were going to throw you away. I mean, he just would work with it. And they would call him, oh, you got a good point. You got a good point. I got it. So here it says, fitly. Come on and read, my friend. The whole body.
From whom the whole body fitly joined together. And compacted by which every joint supplied.
Compacted. Fitly. When God places you, he equips you. And you're equipped to work where he calls you to work. Fitly. That's why don't ever try to be somebody else. Because you're fitted and you're equipped for this. Let me take it a step further. This is just wisdom, and I had to go through this myself. Don't look at somebody else and what they're doing or where they're at, and because you may have similar knowledge, you might not have the pain tolerance. You might can arrange music like that person, but stay where you at. There's a pain tolerance there. Some fighters are really good. Some quarterbacks are really good, but they need a strong line. Some quarterbacks can operate even with a broken line. They can get kicked because they're built of such a way they can take hits and they can still deliver the pass. They got a certain capacity that they're able. Well, that place there may need a greater pain tolerance, may need a greater patience, may need a greater understanding. Their experience positioned them for that. Even though there may be similar gifting, but you don't want to operate there. You won't fit in that capacity if you force yourself to do it. Follow where we're going tonight. All right? Go over to 1 Kings 6:7. 1 Kings 6:7. And you don't have to force it. You don't have to force it. You don't have to force your place. You never have to force. If you have to force something, it probably wasn't of God. If you have to force yourself into a position, if you have to politic your way into a position, it probably wasn't of God. First Kings 6, verse 7. Come on in.
And the house, when it was building,
And the house, when it was building,
was built of stone,
was built of stone.
made ready before it was brought to the
Stone strong. It could endure, it could hold up. Come on.
so that there was neither hammer nor axe nor any tool or iron heard in the house while it was in building.
Read that one more time, the last part. There was no what?
So that there were neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron heard in the house while it was
So here
in
you got
building.
the construction of the temple, and it says there was no sound of an act, this thing, that. Why? Because it fit. It fit. It wasn't no sign of it. You don't got to beat the door down to get your place. You don't have to go and tear somebody else down so they'll be eliminated, so you'll just be the last person standing. You don't have to operate like that. Not in the church of God, not badly you do. You don't got to go and shovel the pastors or some superintendents or the choir directors shovel their walk every day so they'll give you to teach this. No. You ain't got to go, God told me to bless you with this. I told you an individual came up to me a while back. This was a while back. Now, I'm not even telling you if I was here. I was somewhere a while back and somebody came up to me with a large sum of money. They said, Brother Lee, God told me to bless you. I only got one little request. Made this little request, something that they wanted to see shift in the congregation. Took the money, gave it to the church. And you know what? It wasn't that bad. And we had already began to work in this area a little bit. But I got before God, I said, listen, you can't buy your way through Zion, brother. Are you serious? No, you can't buy your way, whatever it is. Quit to hold back your offering. People have tried all stuff in the world, saying, to get their way around the church. They tried to buy their way in. I'm pulling my children. Do what you want to do, but you're not going to politic your way. You're not going to bully your way around Zion. It don't work like that. So here it said there was no sound. Don't ever feel, saints, that you got to force your way into this. You got to force your way in there. You got to make, I'm going to do this, no. Matter of fact, if you see it as not, and it said that, my Lord, help me, Holy Ghost. Go back and read the first part of that verse, my friend. Solomon's temple been built. Come on, read.
What verse was that?
7, I think it was. Chapter 6.
And the house, when it was in building,
Yes.
was built of stone,
Thank God we built with stone, amen. Solid. Come on, read.
made ready
Yes.
before it was brought to them.
Oh, but Charlie, you caught that, my God. Yes, sir. So here it said, sometimes don't try it. And many times when a person is trying to force, you might be trying before you're ready. Let it take its time. It was made ready before it was placed in position. Here you got somebody, this, that, the other, and sometimes some folk can get in your ear. I want to. Really, they after their own interest, they're trying to use you as a pawn. Just like God. No. I want you to do this. I want you to direct it. I want you to cook this. I want you to do. Whoa. The Lord has needed it. God, but you don't. Because if you do, you'll put me out just like you did. The very people that are manipulable enough to be vocal about what they want, those are fighting people many times. When it gets war, when the fire really falls, you will sense. You want to go to war with those that never said one word to you. You want to go to war with those. Why? It was never nothing. You didn't even know it. You didn't know what they wanted you to do. You didn't know nothing. They was just shut mouth. Solid as stone. Here it said, it was prepared before. So when they came time to put them in position, there was no sound of hammers, no sound of anvil, nobody beating this and the other. You ain't have to move. She's crying, you can't. No. When it's God's time. When God does it, you don't have to fight for it. Many times you'll realize, and you'll say, I never said one word. Many of the saints of old that you've seen God use in a great way, they would be able to say, I never fought. In fact, I wasn't even asking for it. After when I was saved in Detroit, he said, man, I was born on a new contract. I was saved for a few years. They say, I would never, no. Matter of fact, I didn't. I wouldn't even pray. He said, I didn't. When they asked me to take over, he said, I wasn't prepared on that level. He said, so I called Brother Cameron, that's Brother Johnson's and Sister Mitchell's father. Sister Mitchell's father. You know, he was more serious. I called him. No. He was like, I was never clamoring. I was never. He said, don't ever clamor. Don't ever. He would often, I'm like, you go to, don't ever clamor. I done seen it, man, individuals come in there, and they, God just gave me one young brother, we were somewhere, and it was an hour before the service. He might have like 6 different commentaries out, 5 Bibles, Greek, Hebrew, this and that, sitting there, waiting on Brother Hampton to come out. But just take your time. And backslide and everything, hypocrite and everything else. But anyway, go over to the gift, Proverbs 18:16. Proverbs 18:16. So we see we don't have to force. You never have to force. Be patient. God got you. God got you. Why? Because of Proverbs 18:16. We're going to look at this a little different. Come on, read.
A man's gift maketh room for him.
So here they would bring gifts to the king. They would bring gifts to the individuals. And their gift would make room. They would make room for those with the gifts to bring. And as I was studying this out, we were looking, and what they bought is kind of aligned with our consecration. What their gift was what they would offer, their offering, what they would get. Here, your consecration before God. You're seeking God with all that you have. Laboring before God in prayer, in quiet time. The needs are so vast. But I have to say one time, if you have anything to offer, they're going to be the door to your house. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. Your gift, a man's gift, just like it made room for him at the table there, there's a parallel. Your gift. If you have something to offer, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But God will make sure, because there's such a need. There's such a need all over the place. Your gift, your anointing, your gifting, your ability, your this, your that. God will make sure. Here, before you know, you ain't got to get you up. Whoa. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what? I'm just getting before God, praying, saying, Lord, when you do need me, and there's various assignments. Sometimes your assignment may be here on this level. You're faithful. Sometimes there could be a shift. You say, God placed me here. He can place you there. But because of the need, it can shift. And you will sense it. You will sense your burden for what you were at waning and another burden developing. You'll be before God, and it's not that you don't prefer and you don't want to do it, but you will just sense your burden shifting. God dealing with you in a different way. You've been faithful, and now he's preparing you for a different assignment. He's prepared. Look at this. Go over to timing is important. Go to Galatians 4:4. Galatians 4:4. Finding your place.
When the fullness of time has come, God sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law.
In the fullness of time. He didn't rush it. In the fullness of time. In the fullness. We're dealing with something once where we were sitting here and it was, Lord, when you would look. It wasn't time. And many times you won't realize it when you're in the heat. So you got to really rely on the Holy Spirit and sound counsel. But you'll realize it after. You say, I wasn't ready. If that would have happened at that time, I probably would have destroyed myself. And as you mature in your experience and you mature in your calling, you're going to realize that more and more. Man, when I first got the inkling, when I first sensed it, if that would have happened then, I would have destroyed myself. I I wasn't this. I even remember I began to do more in the kingdom, some here, but mostly elsewhere. And Brother Hampton had called one day, and it was I think it was a Saturday. And we, at that time, I think we was going 7 days. We had been going 7 days straight. And it wasn't like on a mission. That was our law. Sundays, we were doing some things with Revelation. Mondays, we were going straight from service to Monday night. Tuesday was at Cotton. Wednesday, all day before God at the church. Thursdays, we started mission out at the homeless shelter. That was really going strong. Fridays, we was back at the church for Saints Bible study, this and the other. Saturdays, we did evangelistic at night, in the morning, and then Saturday night, we were back at church. 7 days strong, gone. Had been called. That's what's wrong. Take your time. I recently got married. Get your children and wife, go do something. What are you talking about? No, we actually going up to Michigan State, and then we're going to come back to night service. Matter of fact, I got 2 people we're going to bring with us. And this and the other day, I'm getting up early in the morning. We went to then we started another service at the shelter at 9, and we took them after service. We got done. We brought them all to the church. Van goes straight to the church. So they all lined up, line, straight. I'm like, man, that would come to mind, man, you getting old. He said, brother, listen, Nick. He said, spend time with your family.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, hold on, what are you talking about, man? I'm going strong. He said, spend time with your family. Now, mind you, I got married, ready-made family with 2 little children right there. Spend time. Back off. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
My God.
Take your time, son.
Yes, sir.
Take your time. You're going to make your wife resent you later. Every night. You want somewhere else. Every night. Fight. Every night. Your children will hate you. I wish I could do some things different. Brother Hampton? But I said, Lord, in due season, take your time, son.
Yeah.
This is a marathon and not a sprint. And I've seen many people flame. I'm sick. And many times I'm struggling because it's like, Lord, I feel you got this, but I feel you got due season. Due season. And saints, let me just say this. Be content where God places you. Go over, I'm sorry, saints, pray for me tonight. Go over to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians. Man, the devil do not want me to get to this. Godliness with contentment is great game. Just look up great game when you're with a phone or somebody. Hebrews, 1 Timothy, what is it? I don't know if it's Hebrews, but that may be it. Come on. Come on and read. But if you got it, read the Hebrews.
1 Timothy. 6:6.
What is it?
6:6.
1 Timothy 6, that's it. That's it, Saint. Go over it. It's imperative that when God places you, one of the tools of the devil is the enemy will cause you, after a while you're doing something, familiarity breeds contempt. Familiarity breeds contempt. Like you may say, oh my goodness, I don't know if you've ever seen this. You ever been to somebody's house or somebody that lives in a big city, and you go there and they take you like downtown, they take you to this, that, the other, and they say, we only even go here unless y'all come. Y'all live right here, like this, and y'all never do this. Oh my goodness. We live here. We see it every day, especially if it's somewhere warm. You know, you come from Michigan, like, oh, it's freezing, this and the other. But you go to Michigan, and you go there, and you're like, I want to go take us to the ocean and take us over here, and they take you everywhere you want to go. But as soon as you leave, they don't go back there until you come back. Why? Because it's just familiarity breeds content. Well, saints, honestly, if we're not careful in the kingdom, you got to keep the fire burning. You got to stay content. Because teaching at Sunday school, after a while, you can sit up and you get an old lesson. You goodness, I got to do it. You're not careful. Read, brother.
But godliness
But godliness,
with contentment
yes.
is great gain.
Never be laboring in one place with your eye on somewhere else. Pray for me tonight, saints. Come on, finding your place in the body. Many people end up messing up because they're laboring here, but their eye is on that. Be content right where you at and give your all and be content. You don't need nothing else. Lord, if you don't do nothing else with me, I'm content. But individuals end up becoming. Looking at something, the grass is always green on the other side. The grass is always green on the other, but you prove God faithful. And many times you'll find God blesses an individual with this, and they weren't even clamoring for it. They had honestly, I even heard one sister. She said she wanted to be married so bad. Or I back up. She wanted to be married, and she was wrestling with it. She had to get to the point where she actually wrestled that thing and said, Lord, you know what? I desire it. I'm human. I desire it. Absolutely. But if you don't, it's not going to define me. I'm not going to be miserable. I'm not going to talk about it every time I'm in a room with a sister, talking about it. I'm not. That's not going to be me. I'll travel with the saints. I'm going to make sure I'm okay. I got different ones, this and that. I'll take my nephew, so on and so forth. And guess what happened? As soon as she wrestled that thing, got content, was enjoying her salvation, traveling with the saints, going all down different places. Brother walked out. Oh, Lord. Walked out of Brother Hampton's office. My Lord. Brother Hampton said, you got a minute? Coming off. Well, the point is that when you are content, you're showing God something. Especially when God is blessing you and anointing you and you're producing. But you're yet. Listen, if God has called you to prep cook, don't try to take the cook's position. Be a prep cook. And some people that want you were so excited about being a prep. If you're a cook, don't sit up here and talk about how you want to be a trustee. I know how the money should be really spent. I just want to be a cook. That's just as important, just different. Ain't no big this, that, and no. They ain't their money, they just counting it. Get it right. Don't take none. And looking at things, business and all this other stuff. Looking at people differently. Oh, they don't even pay their tithe. No, but it's about get the Holy Ghost. Don't even look at that. That ain't your business. That's God's business. Because you're so. Yeah, I know, but what God, I really want to direct. Let the directors direct. Be a soloist. Be content. Be content. I'm director. No, I want to be the director. Be content. Be content. Be content. Saints, I'm telling you with the truth tonight. Many times individuals be laboring, and after they have some success or been there for a while, they got an eye somewhere else. And I'm no longer content, or I'm auditioning. You know what that spirit is? Y'all ever heard of auditioning spirit? An auditioning spirit is this individual is never normal. They're never just normal. Whatever, anytime they have to do something, they actually are performing. They're doing it with the mindset of I want that. I want this over here. I got to walk a certain way because I want to be. I acknowledge this is not. Fine. I'm fine. I'm content where God got me, and when God has something else for me, as long as He shows me, I'll be content there. All right. Let's. I think we'll. How do we find that place? Go over to Deuteronomy 4:29. We may be able to get one more point past this one. How do we find that place?
But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
Many times when you're seeking your place in the body, individuals don't really pursue the will of God with all their heart, all their soul, all their seeking God, not to be seen or not even for a position per se, but I want to know, Lord, what's my part? What do you have for me? Everyone that gets saved should not get saved to sit the bench, get saved just to sit back. And let me say this, it don't mean because you're not up front that you sit in the bench. It means sit in the bench when you don't have a burden for nothing. You're not bringing a burden to nowhere in the church. You just are receiving. Sometimes, I told you, I really appreciate Sister Robinson Hampton. Many times, she would pray for the person that was praying. I don't know if you ever caught that. She'd be over and she said, Lord, bless the prayer. Lord, bless. While the person took the courage to lead us out in prayer, or they said, Brother so-and-so, come lead the prayer. She's over here, sitting there just saying, Lord, bless the prayer, Lord. And many times when the brother is, or who's ever sharing a lesson or whatever, she's over here saying, Lord, help him. Lord, give him strength. Lord, help him, Lord. Lord, please help him. Lord, help him, Lord. Not even the one there, but the one that was, she wasn't sitting on a bench, although you didn't see her. Many times when the person was up there directing, Lord, help them. Lord, bless the choir. Lord, help them. That's why it's dangerous to have a congregation when you have these older pillars begin to go off and another person just see visibly what they think they were doing, but didn't know what they were doing behind the scenes. It's easy for a church to replace what was done publicly, but you're in trouble when that which was done behind the scenes hasn't been replaced. You can preach it, my God, but Brother Hampton, my God, left morning service, stayed before God till nighttime, got up, ate some soup, and got back before God to produce what was preached earlier last week. If that is not replaced, Sister Green leaves prayer service, getting in their car, getting ready, my God, get a little refreshment or whatever, to go back after for a couple more hours tonight. Why? Because we preach a heavy gospel. We got souls getting saved coming in. Lord, birth them. Lord, develop them. Lord, may they see what Brother so-and-so just went over in Sunday school. Lord, that's heavy. Lord, that's calculus. May their spiritual digestive tract be able to digest it and perceive it. We're talking about unity of God's people, one church, Babylon. That's a whole lot, my God. But that teaching may not go as deep as it could go if we don't have a Sister Green over here. And because she wasn't up here don't mean she was sitting the bench. Sitting the bench is when you sitting there, you're in service, and you ain't close enough, you're not close enough to God that you don't perceive that there's needs all around you. There are needs all over the church. But that's what Sister Green got hold of. It wasn't what she did up front, but her catching the bird. A prayer request will go over on the other side, and she'll say, that person don't normally make a prayer request. When they say something serious, and that thing pricks her heart, or another request is going over here, and she take that home with her. So it's not about sitting the bench that I'm not up, I'm not this, that, and the other. You may be up sitting the bench because what you're doing is just talking, but you don't have a burden. You didn't get before God. You have no real burden for what you're doing. You're just wasting time and in somebody else's way that should be up there. Go over to 1 Corinthians 1:28. 1 Corinthians 1:28. I think this is far. So you'll find that place when you seek it with your whole heart. Say, Lord, I didn't just get saved, but I'm seeking. What do you have for me to do, Lord? What do you want from me? And God has a place for everybody. I don't care who you are. Let me show you. It doesn't matter who you are. God has a place for you in his church, in his body. God has something for you to do. It does not matter. You don't have to be a great person. You don't have to be acknowledged as this, that, and the other. 1 Corinthians 1:28, finding your place in the body, seek it with all your heart, and you don't have to be someone, quote-unquote, great. 1 Corinthians 1:28, read.
The base things of the world,
yes,
and things which are despised, have God chosen.
My Lord, fishermen, tax collectors, base things. Man, no, God can't use me, man. Why? Yeah, I smoked drugs one time. And what? Well, no, God can't use me. I got in trouble. And what? This ain't Babylon. This is the church of God. People talk about what God can't use. You know what I can do? Lord help me. No, I won't even prepare a sermon. But I just give you just a quick 15-second sermon on what God can use. God used a murderer to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt. Moses killed the man. My God. God used a man that couldn't speak. God used a drunkard to build a boat. Come on now. God used an adulterer and a murderer who ended up becoming the greatest king Israel had ever seen before. Paul was in jail. And we can keep going. So never let whatever, sometimes say we can get off into this beautiful person personification that you have to look a certain way. You have to be a certain last name. You have to have a certain education. You have to, all that stuff is foolishness when it comes to the church of God. Don't let that limit you. God can bless you. God can use you. We need everybody. God has chosen the base things, the things the world look down. And many times, saints, when he uses the base thing, he can get the most glory. What dictates your place in the body? Many times it's your burden. Many times God uses your experiences. Many times God equates the need. There was a need. Many times God can use abilities. They do know how to play the piano. They do know music. They do know this. He don't need that, but many times he can use. You'll find the Apostle Paul, who had certain abilities and experiences that God did use him to go before kings, so on and so forth. Many times he uses your consecration. Because of your consecration is such. I've even seen Brother Hampton, when he was looking at various things, he would pray, get before God, and he would consider their faithfulness, their disposition. And let me close with this. Strengthen your weak link. Pray for me, saints. God, and I was telling one of the ministers, I was telling some, I feel God so strongly preparing a generation. Now, I'm not talking about young people. I'm talking about older, more seasoned, as well as for what he's about to do. I just feel strong. Get out your mind that God is going to have a person or a couple of people, or God is trying to raise up a big old mega church in Jackson. Or God, saints, what God is doing, I just feel it strong in my spirit, is preparing for what the church of God is about to do. You don't have to be jealous. You don't have to look for this person. It's going to be, our consecration is going to be tested when God does fully. And he's beginning. But this is the tip of the iceberg. Your consecration, your mindset of, can you go for the 3 days revival? No. Your faith gonna be tested. Can you handle it? It's imperative that whatever weak link you got, whatever your weakest link is, seek God's face to strengthen it. Pray for me, saints. We're bringing it. I've seen too many times in the church of God, individuals that have more knowledge and experience, but I would say, why isn't they you? Why didn't they? We would have a Bible that they know this, that, and the other. And I'm sitting there like, they know what? Then why don't I, Brother Hampton, why don't you call them what? Somewhere. There was a weak link that God couldn't put more on them. Why? Because you can only, you had some big links over here and big links over there. But right over here was just one weak link. And you can only carry that which that weakest link can be sustained. Now I sit there and I'm like, we have the Bible there. They know the answers. They know their spirit that God cannot use to that extent that he really wants to use. There's a way that their consecration is just not that there's a connection to the world. I want to use him. I want to use him. But something about his home. I'm sorry. The saints love her. The saints, when I say this about him, the saints, but I cannot use them on that level. Why? Because their home is not in order. I want to. But they wouldn't even be received on that level. Brandon, one time said, I don't even know who. For this, who? I said, Lord, help us. I've even seen saints, some ministers. And they ain't home. It was a way in which God wanted, I don't know, man, they can do this thing, but they finances. Just wasn't new. It was just something about it. So, in closing, finding your place in the body. As we broke down each point, just as you're seeking, pray and say, Lord, if it's my fast life, Lord, if I talk too much, Lord, if I'm too cliquey, Lord, if I got too attachment to the things of this world, Lord, if my spirit just goes off, if I hold grudge, I don't know. Lord, whatever it is, my weakest link, I want that strengthened because I don't want that to marginalize me effectively being placed at my place in the body.